Hello, so I started with my brows before I put in my contacts, and now I'm just priming my face with Benefits Professional. I'm doing a normal foundation routine. I'm just doing it super matte when normally I do a dewy look. And I'm going to use the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation because it comes up gorgeous on camera. And if you're doing this look for Halloween, you'll probably be in a ton of pictures. It's also a matte foundation and it's medium to full coverage, but you can also sheer it out using a beauty blender. And with my favorite concealers, I'm just going to conceal my eyes. And I left this part in because when you set your concealer, you don't want to do the normal baking because you're going to have a lot of eyeshadow underneath your eyes. So I'm going to show you exactly where to set it with the Laura Mercier setting powder. This is my favorite setting powder. I still haven't found a better one. And I'm only doing like the inner corner of my eyes because I don't want to drag it too far out, but I do still want it to not crease. These contacts are super comfortable, by the way. That's why they're not bothering me, but when I look straight to the camera, that's where the ring light is, and it kind of reflects way too much light into my pupils. So if I'm squinting, it's because it's too much light, but they're not uncomfortable. I'll leave a link below of where to get them. They're not that expensive. I'm just going to set a little bit where I don't want any creasing to happen. And I'm going to do a super strong contour using LA Girl. These are amazing concealers. I'm just using a darker concealer to draw in my contour lines, and with an mascara brush. This is my favorite blending brush. And then I'm just setting the contour with my favorite bronzer, which is Tarte Park Avenue Princess in Matte. I wanted it to be stronger because it is a lot of face paint, but it's supposed to be like almost like you're wearing a mask. So this isn't a normal beauty look. I wouldn't typically do my contour that strong and heavy. But for photographs all night, you're going to want everything to be a little bit more exaggerated. Because it's a clown, the cheeks have to be really pinkish. This is my new favorite blush brush. I'll link it below. I forgot the name, but it just puts on the blush so good. I'm obsessed with it. Don't be afraid to keep adding more. You want to keep a lot of color in your flesh because it's a lot of white, red, and black, so that tends to wash you out. And you're also wearing white contacts, so you have to keep kind of the color alive in your face. So I'm going to use Lightscapade by MAC for my highlight because it will just give a lighter and glossier finish. This isn't really something where you want it glowy. Using Benefits eyeshadow primer, I'm just going to blend out the primer all the way up to the crease because it's a lot of eyeshadow for this look. For my transition color, I'm going to use MAC's Bamboo. It's one of my favorite transition colors. With a big fluffy brush. I'm using a brush that's basically the same thing as a MAC 217. I'm going to go in with another mocha color and add a little bit more in the crease. I like to define my crease and kind of shape it out before I start. That way I know where to set up my lines. And I just contour a tiny bit with the same color. This is MAC's Milk Pencil. I just depotted it so it's more sanitary, and I'm using a concealer brush to kind of put it right in the center of the lid towards the inner corner, because this is where we're going to pack on a lot of yellow eyeshadow. And yellow eyeshadows are, in my opinion, it's hard to pack on that type of pigment, so I like a white primer first. The yellow from the artist palette, Anastasia's artist palette, is really, really great, but I still didn't think it was bright enough, so I'm going to go back in with a yellow, almost like a highlighter yellow from the Morphe palette. It's like one shade lighter. Both are extremely pigmented shadows. It's nothing against the brand. Yellow is just such a hard color to keep completely opaque. But when you layer them this way, it comes out opaque. Using butter from the same artist palette, I'm going to drag it from the yellow down to the inner corner. I don't know why it got fuzzy, but I'm going to start lining my eyes with Sephora Black Liquid Liner. I can't do liner on camera, but just give yourself like a Cleopatra line. And then using an eyeliner brush, dip it in some liner and start lining up your eye points. You don't have to draw the whole thing, but just kind of set up where you want the lines, so that way when you draw in the rest, you know how to coordinate it. So that way it's not all crazy and uneven. So they match, you just start sketching out your details. So I'm just putting 2 little points. That way I know how to line up the rest. I was referring to the picture I did last year. I'll show you at the end of the video what it looks like, if I can. I'm going to try to add the video from last year so you can see the difference. Or I'll probably post it on Instagram too. Using NYC's liquid liner, because the brush is so easy to use, I'm going to start dragging it up to that point. Kind of like an extremely dramatic cut crease. Because I sculpted my crease already, I know exactly where to drag that line down. This is really hard, so don't get overwhelmed. Don't try this tutorial the day that you want to use the makeup. I suggest practicing a little bit first, at least practicing just the liner, because it was even difficult for me. I created the look, and I've done it before, and this was still even a little bit frustrating. I was starting to get annoyed. So just try practicing first. But if you're a beast with eyeliner, then just go for it. This look calls for a ton of eyeliner, so I typically use a cheaper kind, like e.l.f. liquid liner is great, it's only $1. This NYC liquid liner is great, it's only $2, because you don't want to waste all your good eyeliner. And it will stay just as dark. The best thing to do is to pack in the color instead of trying to get it extremely dark on the first try. I'm sorry it's a little bit fuzzy. I honestly don't know what the fuck happened. I know it goes back to clear. I kept trying to check if it was on the camera, but I didn't notice it was fuzzy, probably because of the contacts. I have astigmatism, so everything was a little bit fuzzy to me. Now using a liner brush, I'm going to dip it in black shadow from the same artist palette. And drag out from the black liner. So the pigment from the liner will drag out, and then the eyeshadow from this palette is extremely pigmented too, and it blends so well. That's why I kept using this palette. Kind of like how you would do a cut crease or one of those dramatic smoky eyes, you just drag it out from the liner. And to set the liner a little bit so it stays all night, just put a little bit of shadow on top. This will darken up all your liner and give it the same matte look. So using a blending brush, I'm just going to take where I added all the black shadow and blend it back and forth with the yellow. You're supposed to look unrealistic and be a character. So to make sure everything is matte and almost looks retouched is really, really important with this look. Don't be scared to blend it just because it's yellow and it's black. You could see that it forms a little bit of a gradient. And of course you can add colors, like if you feel like a transition color will help, if you feel like another color will help, I say go for it. I liked how I did this here, but I know that I definitely went back in with a little bit of a transition color. And this is the blending brush that came with the artist palette. Yeah, see, here's the transition color, and I also added the liquid liner on the bottom and just kind of met with the inner corner. And I lined the top of my eyes too, but I just cannot do liner on camera. That's Candace in the background, sorry to get creepy. She's gonna braid my hair. I'm taking e.l.f. liquid liner and starting the bottom points so I can line that up as well. Again, it's kind of hard to get it perfect, especially with your face shape. Everyone has a different type of face shape. So I finished those and started adding black shadow underneath the eyes, and I really packed it on like a Kiss character. And Candace is going to be trying to do my hair at the same time because, of course, I'm crunching everything into when I'm off of work. So taking another blending brush and just dragging the black down. And I'm going to start adding in some maroon purple colors. At first it looks like you got punched in the face and creates like a black eye, like a bruised under eye. But when you keep dragging it down, that's how you create the purple gradient. So she's done, and I finished my under eyes. Going with the black liner, I just put it in my waterline. And the points was just a line up, but you can go back in and darken them because you can kind of see they've gotten lightened. You could see I made that a little bit squiggly, but going in with a Q-tip, you can always fix it and just fix your foundation with a blender and a concealer brush. I'm using the same black face paint with an eyeliner brush to draw on the nose shape. I start with making circles and then filling them in, but I leave a little space to add white to kind of create an artificial light. Sorry, that noise was so annoying. I guess I was opening like makeup remover wipes or something. See, I left a little bit of a gap there, and then with the same face paint, I'm going to go up and darken all my lines. It's really easy to draw shapes on your face with face paint, especially the Wolfie the Wolfie FX. I'll tag this liner brush below as well because it's one of my favorites. I think it works so well. I use this the entire time that I was at Comic-Con drawing all different shit on people. Now I'm going in drawing the clown smile with the same face paint. You basically extremely overline your lips, but if you have huge chunky lips, then just line the outside and draw out the smile. But if you have tiny lips like I do, then overline them and kind of give your face a whole new mouth. You want the Cupid's bow to be really defined as well. Make sure you draw a mouth that fits your face. If I went any bigger, it would kind of look ridiculous. But if you have a really big face or a really big head, then make it a little bit more extended. And I'm just kind of filling in up to the lips, because on the lips I'll actually be using a lip product. I never use face paint directly onto my lips, so I can't tell you if that would work better, but I do suggest making a lip product instead. I'm going to use Anastasia's liquid lipstick in Midnight. And I already had lip balm on and I pressed it deep into my lips. That way this will last long and it won't crinkle up. But this formula is actually really good for black lipstick. If you just have a black lipstick that isn't matte, you can apply your black lipstick and then dab on some setting powder, and that will make it last longer, and it will also make it look matte. This isn't the type of look where you want big glossy lips. It's supposed to be matte. Using white face paint, I'm going in just to create an artificial light using another eyeliner brush. I did it on my nose and right on top of the lipstick. So it does look a little bit crazy and not really good, but once you put your lashes on and the gems and draw the neck piece, that's when it looks really cool. So don't get worried that it looks stupid, because I started freaking out, but the end result was amazing. So I'm using these lashes by Oh My Gosh Lashes and Mosquito Glue. And I'm just letting the glue dry while I draw on my neck piece. The NYX Wonder Pencil is awesome to draw on your neck piece because it's almost like a nude shade, a little bit lighter than your skin tone. But once you fill in the colors, you're not going to see it at all. I don't know how to explain verbally how I drew on the neck piece, but you could see exactly what I'm about to do. You could probably even use a white liner penciler as well, or any type of nude pencil. This is a Wonder pencil, so it's like for eyes, for lips, for anything. Wearing something strapless as your costume will really help with this. I wouldn't recommend doing this look without the neck piece because there's a very fine line between clown makeup and a clown face paint look that looks artistic. The neck piece kind of brings it together. I don't even think I would like it without the neck piece. This gives it more of a creative look instead of a goofy little clown face. And I was probably on the phone at the same time. This tutorial was for a music video that you guys will probably see by the time I publish this, but I did it weeks in advance, so I was in a rush. Like, that's why it's not a really well planned tutorial. The rest will be better. Now that I have all the lines done, I'm going to make the bottom as if it was like an actual collar. You know those collars? I don't know how to explain it. And I put the lashes on. I can't do that on camera either, I'm sorry. So using a big art brush from Michaels, these are super cheap and Michaels always has coupons. I'm going in with white face paint. Wolfie FX White is one of the best ones, but also stuff from the Halloween store, like Halloween face paint, is just as good. And a lot of Halloween stores sell Wolfie FX. I'm sorry, that's my mail going off. You might have to layer it a little bit. It dries fairly quick, but it's not the type of dry where it's going to crack off. Just make sure your neck isn't oiled and it's not too dry. Just like press in moisturizer an hour or two before you do this, and it will set really well. I liked using a thicker brush because it will make it a little bit faster, and you can always clean up the lines later. Face paint is really easy to work with. Don't worry about getting it perfect right away. You could like build in the color and start with each shade. So I'm going to go in and do all the white lines first, but it doesn't mean I'm going to get them absolutely perfect on the first try. It'll make it easier and less stressful if you build in the colors instead of trying to perfect each line. And you want to start with white and not the red, because the white will be easier to correct. The red kind of stains your skin after a few hours, because red dye is just red dye. It's like that with all things. And your lines don't have to be perfectly even. Don't get all crazy and try to make them absolutely perfect. I mean, in my opinion, this look, every detail of it is exactly how I wanted it to be. It's kind of like, I can't explain it. I want to explain it, but I can't. It's supposed to be like going to a carnival gone wrong. Obviously, when you go to a carnival, they're not going to have their faces painted completely perfect. So I kind of took that idea with me and then made it a little bit scary and a little bit more glamorous. So don't get your lines completely perfect if you're going for the same thing. Having them uneven makes it more creative and fun. With another brush, I'm going in with red. Red face paint is like just majestic to work with. I love how it blends out. And I'm going to do the same thing and just fill in the red. This is the only other art brush I had available, but I probably would have used a chunkier one. You could buy these sets at Michael's. They're seriously so inexpensive, and there's a million different kinds. I got these because it had a little grippy for my hands, and they're purple. Now that it's done, I'm going to take my same liner brush in black and kind of add a little detailing on the bottom, like a fake shadow of black. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect either. You could go in and kind of do a lot of shading. Like, you could really take the neck piece a million different directions. And I do suggest it. You guys will probably skill it 10 times better than I will. Using the same lash glue, I'm just putting a little glue at the top point so I can glue on these red rhinestones. I found them on eBay for super cheap. You can get them at Michael's as well. They're kind of like an iridescent red. That's why I like them. A flat red or a black or any other color I feel like won't look as great. So here's the finished look. I hope you guys like this tutorial. I'm sorry I couldn't perfect it for you, but like I said, it's been a crazy few months. I'm doing the best that I can. I also added black face paint onto my fingers to give it more of a creepy look. And these little lace gloves I found on eBay for about $2. I'll link everything that I can below, including the contacts. This look means a lot to me because you guys know I'm a beauty artist and a beauty blogger, but I actually like to create images 10 times more. I love hearing a song and being inspired by it. So when I heard the song Circus, this is what came to my head, and I do this with other things as well. So this look is something I'm extremely proud of, and this is what I actually love to do. I wish I can create and do photo shoots and things like this all the time. So if you recreate it, please tag me. I want to see how you guys interpret this, and I hope you really, really love it. Let me know what you think below. Thank you so much for watching.